While his boxing career lasted, Mike Tyson went head-to-head with some of the biggest names in boxing. Also, he surmounted a huge proportion of these obstacles. However, there is one that he has been unable to forget to date. In this video, we'll take you by the hand and walk you through the bloody fight between Iron Mike Tyson and Jose Ribalta, one of the biggest and strongest boxers he ever faced. Tyson emerged victorious in this fight. However, it showed the world that his heavy punches could be withstood if you had the right body, size, and perhaps willpower. Let's get started. When Jose Ribalta and Mike Tyson knocked horns in the ring, the former was 23 years old. Also, he was 6'5". On the other hand, Mike Tyson was just about 5'10" tall. If you know a thing or two about heavyweight boxing, then you do not need an expert to tell you that he was short for a fighter in this weight category. Mike might not be the shortest heavyweight champion, however, he is one of the shortest. Like in modern-day boxing, the world of boxing used to be dominated by the big guys. Tyson, however, was an exception. Boxers like Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury were way taller than Mike Tyson. Jose Ribalta became a professional boxer in 1982. 10 consecutive wins followed his professional debut. A year later, he had his first loss. This was due to Ricardo and by a TKO. He did not let this deter him, as he bounced back and had 7 more consecutive wins. Before getting the chance to take part in big fights, Ribalta made his money by working as Trevor's sparring partner. Jose Ribalta clashed with Tyson in 1986. At this time, Tyson was nearing his peak and was 20 years old. Ribalta was not the most feared. However, he was no 10 on the WBC ranking, which was alright. Nonetheless, most boxing fans assumed he would be a walkover for Mike Tyson. They were wrong, as Tyson considers this fight one of the most difficult of his career. As usual, Tyson made his way into the ring looking ferocious. He was drenched in his own sweat and was bare-chested. Tyson was very intense. However, his opponent Ribalta was just as fierce. He did not seem to be fazed by Tyson's entry and entire appearance. Although Ribalta seemed to come into the ring with the same energy that Tyson did, the crowd did not give him a chance. This view was somewhat made public when HBO analyst Larry Merchant said, "Don't anybody go to the toilet or the refrigerator. Mike Tyson has short working hours." This meant that Mike Tyson was expected to knock out Ribalta in a very short time. One could have argued that Tyson was overrated. However, he wasn't. At the time, Tyson knocked out his opponents like he already had his punches in a pouch and was revving to unleash them. The last 4 fighters Tyson faced before Ribalta did not last a total of up to 6 rounds. While it seemed like no one was good enough to go the distance with Mike Tyson, 2 men had lasted a long time in the ring with him as a teenager. These men, however, did not seem to come into the ring for a fight. They merely came to survive. They both avoided going head-to-head with Tyson. This was perhaps why they could last as long as they did. Tyson was not at the peak of his career. However, many of his opponents blatantly ran from him during a fight. However, Ribalta, who had the body to take several blows and remain standing, did not seem to conform to this norm. As the fight progressed, for once, it seemed like Ribalta was going to go the way of other fighters. This is because in the second round, an uppercut knocked him down. However, he was back to his feet before the count of 5. He made his way through several punches before the bell rang, signaling the end of the second round. At this point, we were experiencing a break from the norm, as it appeared normal for Tyson's opponents to go down without putting up much of a fight. Those that did not go down so quickly seemed to have some tricks up their sleeves. Nonetheless, no one got hit by Tyson with so many punches and stood on their feet. Well, unlike the rest, it did not look like Ribalta was going to hit the canvas and stay down early in the fight. At the end of the 3rd round, even Tyson could not believe Ribalta was still very much in the fight. As the rounds progressed, Ribalta seemed to make his way slowly into the fight. He had gotten used to the intensity, but his resilience seemed to start yielding results. The Cuban was not just a recipient of several blows, he too sent some heavy punches Tyson's way. Tyson got caught with some uppercuts. By the 8th round, the crowd overwhelmingly in support of Tyson had developed immense respect for Ribalta, and shouts of "Jose" filled the air. These shouts had no impact on Tyson. They seemed to fuel his drive as he dealt Ribalta a major hit that knocked his gum shield out of his mouth. He went on to pin his opponent to the ropes and knocked him down a second time. Tyson had just gotten started. Ribalta was knocked down as he got up and made it to the 10th round. Well, it appeared he was not destined to make it past the 10th round as he was knocked down again by a left hook. To the surprise of the crowd, Ribalta was again on his feet. The referee asked him if he still had what it took to get on with the fight, and he replied, "Yeah, hell yeah." Mike Tyson was not relenting and confused assaulting his opponent with more hooks, and the referee thought it wise to bring the fight to an end. Although Ribalta did not make it to the end of the fight, he spent more time in the ring than the previous 4 boxers that Tyson had been matched with. Stats after the battle reveal that Tyson threw over 300 blows Ribalta's way, with 220 of them making contact with the Cuban. Also, over 100 of these punches were power shots. Amazingly, Ribalta returned punch for punch and was able to make it past the 10th round. The Cuban was disappointed the referee ended the fight. However, Tyson was slightly disappointed as no one who made it into the ring with him was knocked out later than Ribalta. This made it one of Tyson's favorite knockouts. Several years later, Tyson revealed that Ribalta ruined his night. Tyson also appreciated Ribalta's determination to stay on his feet. In the bout between Ribalta and Tyson, the former clearly showed that he could survive a storm of punches. This made pundits tip him to make it to the top of the heavyweight division. However, they were wrong. After his time in the ring with Tyson, Ribalta won 9 consecutive fights against average boxers. He went on to even lobby for a rematch with Tyson. However, things did not go in the direction that he had hoped for. In 2 years, Ribalta lost 5 matches. In one of them, he got knocked out by Frank Bruno in the second round. Ribalta never became a big dog in boxing and quit professional boxing in 1999. The journey was different for Tyson. For him, the long fight with Ribalta was an experience he needed to get to the top and stay there. In the fight with Ribalta, Tyson clearly showed that he had what was required to deal with a resilient fighter. Although Mike Tyson triumphed over stubborn Ribalta, he lost to a similar opponent 4 years later. Tyson's loss to James Buster Douglas was just a single occurrence in his life. He had several other successful fights. However, he revealed that Jose Ribalta made him work the hardest for a KO. While Tyson thinks Ribalta is the toughest opponent he has faced, the feeling is not mutual, as Ribalta claims Tyson does not have the hardest punches he has received. 4 years after their fight, Ribalta felt he still had a score to settle with Iron Mike. However, he never got the chance for a rematch. As it stands, Jose Ribalta still seems to be seeking a rematch with Tyson. While this seems very unlikely, we can never tell the direction in which things will go. Tyson could shock us all and decide to have one more fight with Jose Ribalta.